They looked human. Feared as witches and demons, they possessed superhuman powers. They could read minds, free objects from gravity, fly through space. They lived alone and outcast in Cougar Canyon. They were the people. So I recently visited an old abandoned farmhouse up on Highside, which is an area of farms stretching away from Stone's Way toward the horizon. If you drive along any of the many county highways or dirt road byways in this area, it's not uncommon to see abandoned buildings. There are ruinous barns, of course, and even houses. These structures are usually dilapidated or collapsed. It's also possible to stumble across ruins while hiking through the woods. I've run across the foundations of old buildings several times, although I give them wide berth. Aside from being creepy, these old houses can be dangerous because of what can be hidden in the undergrowth. Rotting timber, leaning walls and trap floors, old rusty nails, barbed wire, automobile and tractor hulks, broken furniture. Not to mention old wells that might now only be holes in the ground, maybe covered by just a few planks of old wood. There are also many abandoned buildings that are still standing, although they have fallen into disrepair. They might have broken windows and weeds or even trees growing thick around them. Some people go searching for these abandoned buildings and ruins to explore them and document them. You can find the videos on YouTube. The houses usually seem to have a haunted feel, probably because the videos are most often lighted by flashlights and because of the quality of the narrator's breathing, which may be from the exertion of climbing stairs and treading tensely across old, creaking floors. Personally, I wouldn't want to explore one of those houses at night. My imagination can sometimes run away with me. So then, you might wonder, why would I go looking for an old abandoned farmhouse up on Highside? Well, it's simple, really. It started with an old black and white photograph. I found this picture between the pages of a musty, leather-bound book I picked up some time ago at a garage sale. I don't remember where exactly I bought the book, and I suppose it doesn't matter. The picture shows a farmer, a man, and in the background, at some distance, a woman hoeing the ground, as if she couldn't take a moment to pause for the photograph, although I understand that photographs were expensive productions long ago. Did I say the picture was black and white? Well, actually, it isn't anymore. It has gradually filled in with color, starting with a tint. I'm sure of this, although I wouldn't be able to prove it, as I am the only person who has observed this change. When I stare at the photograph, it seems to me it moves and changes very slowly and subtly, or suddenly in the blink of an eye, while maybe I'm blinking my eye. It seemed to me once that the woman glanced up at me, but now I can't be certain I really saw that. And I wonder if maybe the woman was originally standing beside the man in the first instance of the photograph. I mean, as it was observed before it was preserved between the pages of the book. I wonder if she grew bored with standing and went back to work. Or maybe she grew tired of the photographer's eternal stare, which is now my own stare, and yours too. I went looking for the house because of a name written on the back of the photograph: Sykes. Of course, I know the story of the Sykes farm. At night, it's said that lights can be seen in the house or moving through the fields, bobbing as if a person is carrying a lantern, although nobody can be seen carrying the lantern. During the day, shapes can be seen, dim figures, a man and a woman, people say, and even sometimes a wagon or livestock, or sounds can be heard, a horse's neigh, a woman calling across the field, although no one is there and no one answers. Lights and aerial phenomena are also sometimes seen over the farm, over all of Highside, really, but people say it's got something to do with that old Sykes house. The Sykes house is surprisingly well preserved, although it's by no means new looking. The land is owned by the Halversons now, but they don't farm it. Actually, I don't think they do anything with the land. Nobody has ever seen them even mowing over there, and the Halversons themselves are tight-lipped when it comes to the house. They say, "Stay away," but that's about it. Most people are smart enough to heed their admonition, or the no trespassing signs posted along the road, but I wasn't. which is certainly out of character for me, and I blame the photograph for that, because I had grown obsessed with it. Anyway, and to get to the point, let me tell you what happened when I visited the house, which is nowhere. Of course, it doesn't have an address. The house is about 1/8 of a mile off of a dirt road. You can't see a driveway from the road, but as I neared the house, I realized I was walking a path a little more level than the surrounding field, and there were very old ruts in the path. The house is on a little rise. As I neared the house, I stopped to take the photo from the folder I was carrying, to compare the house in the picture to what I was seeing. As I looked up at the house, I thought I saw, well, I can tell you it made my heart skip a beat. But I could swear I saw someone in the house, upstairs, spying on me from a window as if they were crouched down so as not to be seen. That's why I felt so free to enter the house. And yes, I called out and knocked and yelled before entering, "Hello! Is anybody in there?" But nobody answered. The door was not locked. The inside of the house was dark despite the light of day outside. That's because there weren't any windows on the first floor, at least where I was, but a little bit of light filtered through chinks in the old walls. I could see my way dimly to the stairway, where I paused, wondering, why didn't I bring a flashlight? I yelled again, "Hello?" Nobody answered. You can imagine what fears flittered through my mind, but I was determined to solve the mystery of the photo. I put my first foot on the stairway, drawing in my breath as it creaked, then my second and my third. I was concentrating on putting one foot in front of the other. I was very scared, and I had to keep reminding myself of the light of day outside. I was near to the top of the stairway when I paused to call out again, and then I heard a creaking, and then a crashing, and I fell. What happened next has the quality of a dream, so please forgive me if it sounds like a dream. I woke up. It was pitch dark, or not quite, because there was a full moon outside, but it was very, very dark. A woman spoke. "He's awake." Then a man. "How about some light?" The room came into focus. One lantern on the table and another hanging from a beam, a fire dancing in the fireplace. I was on the floor of a kitchen beside a stairway which was not broken. The woman and the man were at the table. They were the very same as those in the picture. They had pushed aside some plates. I smelled roasted chicken and baked potatoes, a Sunday meal. That was a good fall. The man grinned at me as if I was a bit of a fool, but not a bother. The woman looked away as if embarrassed by my plight. "When you wake up, you should see a doctor, just in case." I nodded, not knowing what to say. "I want to thank you for bringing that darned picture back to us. It's been a long time lost, wandering around a future we couldn't reach, and we couldn't leave without it." Then, after a pause, "I suppose I should also apologize for a bit of subterfuge on our part, which you may piece together later. You see, we only have so much energy to direct." The man stretched and stood up. His chair scraped on the wood floor. He gave me a hand and helped me to my feet. He smiled as he lifted me up. "Dreams are always light as a feather." The woman rose. We made our way outside. The man nodded as my eyes grew wide. "Yep, we've been waiting a long time, and now it's time to go." The man and woman left my side and advanced toward the craft. There were no visible steps as they seemed to climb the air. The craft itself looked oddly old-fashioned. It could have been a merry-go-round from the 1890s or a vision of future architecture from the 30s. I don't know if it made a sound as it rose into the air. When I woke up in the morning, my knee was still sore and I was very dusty. I didn't go see a doctor. I went home briefly to take a shower and check in, but then I went down to Sales, my local diner, eager to tell my tale. I didn't get a chance, though. Everybody was excited because there had been lights over Highside. A UFO had been seen rising up into the air. People said they thought it had lifted off from that old Sykes house. It was anybody's guess what it had been doing or where it was going. I didn't tell my story. I didn't want to sound like a show-off.